It's time for your mix of movers and shakers, of doers and makers. It's time for Funko Fun Chat.
Today's guest, she's the voice of Toph from Avatar, The Last Airbender. It's Jessie Flower.
My name is Jessie Flower, or Michaela Jill Murphy. I have two names, which I can explain. But I am primarily known for voicing Toph Beifong in the wonderful Avatar, The Last Airbender.
I am the greatest earthbender in the world!
On Nickelodeon and now on Netflix. Woo! So yeah, that's primarily me. You might have also heard me in Meet the Robinsons.
My name's Franny, and I teach frogs music.
It's Kronk's New Groove.
99 monkeys jumping on the bed.
Some little baby hedgehogs and Over the Hedge way back in the day, you know, fun stuff like that. So yeah, that's me. So yeah, my 6-year-old self did not like how my first name was pronounced. I had a different last name at the time, and I got a lot of Michaela Miager. My name was Michaela Mayhair. So I got a lot of just straight up Michaels. People didn't even see the A. I got Michaela, Meager, and I'm just like, all right, we gotta, none of this sounds cool, and I wanted to be cool. And Jessica was the coolest name of all time, you know, at my age of 6. So to make that even cooler, I just shortened it. And I was like, I'm gonna be Jessie. And my mom's like, you need a last name. And I was like, okay, Flower. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, Jessie Flower. And I'll sign my little I with a little flower and just make it a thing. And she's like, okay, this might be on lots of things. I'm like, yeah. I had a friend of mine who was in a commercial. I thought it looked fun. That was the start of all of this. I didn't have really a single actor or movie or something that started it. I kind of just got started in commercials and musical theater, found my way into voice acting, kind of by a happy accident. I was really good at reading, which is a huge deal if you're doing voiceover and a kid, because they're like, if we give you a brand new script, can you read it on site? Because you will need to. My plan was to just stop acting professionally at 14 years old, and then I was going to become a cardiovascular surgeon. And then I got to college and everything kind of imploded. For anybody who can maybe relate to that, it just kind of got messy. And then I was in my early 20s and I was in New York and I didn't know what was happening. And I found my way back to performing, and I ended up majoring in screenwriting, actually. So yeah, lots of twists along the way. I dubbed an anime. Yeah, it's called Platinum End. It's from the creators of Death Note. They made like a little side thing, yeah. So I'm the lead angel, Nasse. I'm her English dub. And she's like very cute and just wants you to be happy. And you know, it's kind of funny because I feel like my resume is a lot of sassy little like 12-year-old girls. And then she's like really pretty and like has a butt, you know. I think I assumed growing up that everybody wanted to be seen. I just assumed this was a thing everybody like enjoyed, appreciated. Like, yes, it gives me a little bit of anxiety, but I enjoy it. It's also kind of cool walking around in cosplay, and a lot of people don't necessarily know that I'm the voice of Toph, but they'll appreciate the cosplay and be like, oh, that's dope, that's a dope Toph. And I'll be like, thanks, Twinkle Toes. And they're like, hey.
Keep your knees high, Twinkle Toes!
You know, been more of a learning front on that, I guess, in that way. Yeah, and I feel like as I've gotten older, I've been able to appreciate that more. But at the time, it was not as big as it is now, as we thought it was going to be. Nobody was like, oh, we're working on this masterpiece. It was just like, oh, this cool show. We like bend elements, you know, every Tuesday after school, my 2:30 recording slot. Like that was just my life. And then I'd go home and do all my homework. It was very cool. But it didn't like change my life. It wasn't this crazy phenomenon, you know, because I think nobody really knew how big it was going to get at the time. You can only act so much. There are two different kinds of actors, and most of them fall into the first category of they insert themselves into every role that they play. They kind of maybe expand portions of their personality, maybe, you know, mutate them a little bit depending on how intense the role is, and then that's how they act. You can kind of trace this person's personality and see them in it. I feel like that's the same with the entire Avatar cast in the best way. Incredible actors, great voice acting, but when you meet them in real life, you're like, huh, yeah. There's kind of, that makes sense. Jack DeSena, very much Sokka. Olivia Hack, Ty Lee, very much just connected. It makes sense. So when you meet Toph, it's been helpful reflective-wise as I like get older. I'm like, stubborn, very opinionated, thinks she can do everything by herself. Perhaps I should take a note. It's okay to need friends.
That I can take care of myself by myself.
Almost had to tell myself that it was okay to like dig into it a little bit more, because I feel like when you do stuff as a kid, and even as an actor, when you talk about things that you did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there's this weird like, do I exist in the present as a creative to these people, or do I just exist as this previous character, this previous version of myself? And in one sense, yeah, you do. To most people, regardless of what I do, Avatar is going to be their favorite thing that I've ever done. It's like when you go to see a concert and they only play their new album and they don't play any of the bangers that they released 10 years ago, and you're like, can you just play the song? It's like, I just want to hear it. But what a wonderful thing to have. You have people who want to hear that one song. Toph really was like my girl. I was growing up and just felt like I wasn't the stereotypical girl, or if there are fans who have disabilities, any kind, not just visual. They're like, this was the first character where it was like she was still the most powerful character, and in fact, it like made her strong. That was the first time I'd ever seen that, and I just really vibed with that, and she kind of got me through middle school or got me through my parents passing away. I mean, just some really, really intense stuff, and that just kind of made me love her / the show even more, because holy crap, how can you not? I think the biggest thing is that just everybody is people. Just because something is maybe different from this other person, still a human. And there was no heralding thing of like, look at how she's different. And that's what made it so impactful. Because she's not different. She is, yes, but like it doesn't make her all of a sudden function differently, think differently, feel differently. She's still just as multifaceted as anybody else. And I think that is the biggest cornerstone upon which so many feel heard and seen. So a lot of people who come up having some sort of disability usually kind of mention that. They're just like, she made me feel like it was okay to just like own my disability and become completely like normalized with it and not apologize for it and not have to explain it. It's like, no, you just be you. And then somebody will eventually make a joke about it and keep holding things up or whatever, and you'll be like, what is with you people? I'm blind.
I mean, seriously, what's with you people? I'm blind!
You know, that's your superpower. How do you make that what makes you kind of stronger than everybody else? Of course, I think of the funny ones. It's fitting. I've had to sign lots of funny things. I've signed lots of live produce.
I am not Toph. I am Melon Lord!
Whether they be watermelon or cantaloupe. And I've signed, a couple of cabbages, real ones, that were already wilting. Questionable, but that's okay. We were there for the memes. Do it for the meme and the photo. That I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know what's happening. I'm 28, and just because so much has happened that has been great and successful, that does not set up the rest of everything else. And I very much am still like, cool. What do I want to do today? So yeah, I guess that like everything is not all figured out by the time I graduated from college, and that's fine. And also that like being, I guess, happy is definitely a choice. You could always be annoyed at something, or you can always just choose to be happy, and you don't have to ignore all the annoying bad things that are happening. It's just kind of like, all right, this is crappy, this thing in the world happened today, but guess what? I'm here, I'm healthy, hair looks good, we're doing great, we're doing great. And that mental health is crazy, so like be gentle with yourself, because it's a lot. Everybody's got a different story, so, and yours is valid. Gosh, you guys have covered a lot. There's a lot out there already. I guess there isn't really like any Meet the Robinsons or Emperor's New School stuff, because I was Chaca that, well, yeah, that's not as impressive as my loose tooth.
That's not as impressive as my loose tooth. See?
You know, just seeing my own characters, of course, is always fun, but you guys already have Sailor Moon, which is my other like crux, my weakness, which I've collected many of.
Now that's a fun chat, but there's more. Check out these other interviews and more fun stuff on Funko Fun TV.